Hello, this is Kuntal Chakraborty, Assistant Professor of Electrical Engineering Department, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, GIS Group. I'm just going to give a lecture on 8051 microcontroller programming. I already gave 3 lectures on 8051 microcontroller programming previously. This is my 4th lecture on 8051 microcontroller programming. Now in this lecture, I'm just going to discuss the program using logic instructions as well as the program related to interrupts, program related to timer counters here. First, I'm just going to discuss the program using logic instructions. We already discussed different logic instructions in my previous lectures for AND, OR and XOR operations. So now in this program we will just try to understand how the AND, OR and XOR operations that can be done by using the instructions ANL, ORL and XRL. So in this program we are seeing that this is starting at this, and 3D that is stored into register R0, 3F the data that is stored into R1 and 4F that will be stored into R2 by using MOV instructions here. These 3 are the 8-bit data that is stored into R0, R1 and R2, and we will use these data for the AND, OR and XOR operations. So now next, MOV A, hash 23H. So that will be actually stored into the accumulator now, and we will perform AND operations by using ANL A, R0. Here the R0 content is 3D, and that will be the AND operations that can be done by using the content of A and the content of R0, and the result that will be stored into the accumulator, and we will get the effects on the flags also, and finally the result that is actually sending to the port 0. So the result that can be seen from the port 0. And next operation is the OR operations, that FF that is stored into the accumulator, and we are sending this the OR operations that is done with the content of A and with the content of R1. So 3F that is already stored into R1. So after the OR operations, the result that will be stored into the accumulator, and there will be some effects on the flags also. And now this result that is stored into the accumulator, and we are sending this result into the port 1. So MOV P1, AM is the content of A that will be sent into the port 1. Next is the XOR operations, that content FFA that is stored into the accumulator, and XRL A, R2. It means the R4F that is stored into the R2, and the operations of XOR operations in between the content of A and content of R2, and the result that will be stored into the accumulator, and we actually send the data result that is into the port 2. So that is MOV P2, A means the content of A, that is the result that will be sent to the port 2. So this is the way by which the AND, OR and XOR operations that can be done, and we can send the data into a particular port as well as we can store our data into the particular registers also. So this is a simple program by which we can understand the OR and XOR operations. Now another logical instructions, another different logical instructions we have, and we will try to use these instructions for the programming. So now this is a starting address, and first we will try to clear the register A by using CLR instructions. So now data 09 that will be stored into A, here we are getting that MOV A, hash 09H means 09 that will be stored into the accumulator, and CLR A means we will clear the accumulator so that the result of the accumulator that is 0, and the content of A that will be 0, and we will send the data into the port 0. Now next, swap nibbles of register A. As we know, the swap register is basically swap the 2 nibbles, upper and lower nibbles of content of A. So now here 45 is stored into the accumulator, and if you use this swap A, then the upper nibble and lower nibble that will be changed, means 5 that will go to the upper nibble, and 4 that will go to the lower nibbles, means that will be 54. And now we can send the data A, the content of A, after swapping into the port 1 by using MOV P1, A. Now complement the register A. Now CPL is instructions by which we can complement the content of A. So now here the content of A we are storing, that is FFA, that will be stored into the accumulator, and if you use CPL-A, then the ones complement that can be done by using CPL, and the content of A that will be sent to the port 2. Now next is the rotate the register's contents towards right. So that is also a logical instructions RR, by which we can rotate a single shift of content of the accumulator. So now we are actually giving the data 34 into the accumulator. Here we are storing the 34 data that is into the accumulator, and if you use RRA, these the content 34 that will be shifted by 1 in the right hand side, and now we are using here XRL A comma R0. So here basically the XOR operations is actually performed, and the content of A that can be sent to the R1. So that is the way we can shift a particular data, single shift that can be done into the right hand side. Rotate the register contents towards left. So here we are getting that 3C that is stored into the accumulator, and if you use RLA, then the content of A that will be shifted into the left hand side, that is a single shift that will be done. And here after that XOR operation is going on. So by using XRL A comma R2, the content of R2 and the content of A, the XOR operation that can be done in between these two data, and the result that will be sent to the, that will be stored into the R3. So that is the end of the program. So here in these logical instructions we already seen different AND or XOR operations, as well as clear instructions, swap instructions, complement instructions, rotate instructions, and its applications from this program. Next we are just going to discuss the program for timer, counter, and interrupts. So before we start the timer, counter, interrupt, so basic things we will try to recall that I already discussed in my previous lectures of timer, counter, as well as for the interrupts. So here in 8051 microcontroller has two interrupts. One is a T0 and another one is a T1. There is timer 0 and timer 1. Timer 0 basically divided into two parts. It has a higher byte and lower byte, TL0 and TH0. And timer 1 similarly it has a 2 bytes, at upper byte and lower byte, and upper byte is TH1 and lower byte is TL1. Now we have a TMOD register, that is a timer counter, basically control register by which we can control the timer as well as counter. So the gate is basically when it is 1, then the timer counter will run only the external hardware control mode, and if it is 0, then that will actually, this timer or counter that is actually operated in a software control mode. And here if the C is equal 1, C/T bar is that is equal 1, then it will operate as a counter mode, and if it is 0, then that will operate as a timer mode. And M0 and M1 actually give us the operating modes of these timers or counters. 00 that is the mode 0, that is 13-bit timer. 01 that is a 16-bit timer counter mode. If it is 10, then that is the mode 2, that is the 8-bit auto reload timer counter mode. And if it is 11, then that is the operating mode, that will be the 3 operating mode by which the two different operations is operating for timer 0 and timer 1. So here these 4 upper bits, the 4 upper nibbles that is used for the timer 1, and the upper and lower nibbles of the T mode that is used for the timer 0. So these are the modes I already discussed in my previous lectures. So now these are the instructions by which we can use for the timer 0 and as well as for timer 1. So SETB TR0 by which the timer that can be started. Similarly, we can clear the TR0 by using CLR TR0, and TF0 actually after the overflow occurs, then that will be set as TF0. So we can use we can set this TF0 by using SETB, and we can clear the TF0 by using clear TF0. Similarly, the timer for the timer 1 we have a TR1, we can set it by using SETB TR1. And we can clear it by using the clear TR1. Similarly, we have the timer overflow flag for the timer 1. When the counter completes, then it will overflow, and we can use this SETB TF1 to set this TF1 as well as TF1, we can clear this TF1 by using CL or TF1. So these are the instructions that we can use for the programming of timer counter. And as we already discussed in 8051 microcontroller, we have 5 interrupts: timer 0, timer 1, this is timer 0 overflow interrupt, timer 1 overflow interrupt, external hardware interrupt 1, and external hardware interrupt 0, serial communication interrupt, that is R1 and T1. So these 5 interrupts we have in 8051 microcontroller, and we will actually try to program these interrupts also by using interrupts also. So now first instruction, first program by using the timer counter interrupts, by using, that is, generate delay using the timer 1 for timer mode 0. So basically the delay that can be generated if you want to set this timer, means if you want to start the timer, then we have to use setB TR1 so that the timer 1 that can be started. Then it will try to basically it will try to find whether the TF1 that is set as 1 or not. TF1 that will be set as 1 when the timer 1 overflows. So after the timer 1 overflows, the TF1 that will be set as 1. So it will actually try to find whether it is a non-zero value or not. If it is non-zero, if it is 0, then it will rotate, and if it is non-zero, means if it is 1, then it will clear the TR1, means the timer flag that will timer TR1 that will be clear, and at the same time the timer overflow flag for the timer 1 that will be also clear, and the return by which the program that can be done. So that is a way we can generate some delay by using timer 1 for the timer mode 0. And next we will try to understand, so write a program to continuously generate a square wave of 2 kHz frequency on pin 2.3 using timer 1. Assume the crystal oscillator frequency to be 12 MHz. The period of the square wave is t is equal 1 by 2 kHz, that is a 500 microseconds, and each pulse that will be 250 microseconds, because 2 pulse means a 1 t states. So that is basically 250 microseconds for each half of pulse. And the value of for 250 microseconds is equal 250 microseconds divided by 1 microsecond, that will be equal to 250. So here 65,536 minus 250, that will be equal to, if you convert into hexadecimal form, then that will be equal to FF06H. Now FF that will be stored into the TH, and 06 that will be stored into the TL. So that is the way the counter that is set. And now in the programming we are seeing that we are selecting the timer 1 and mode 1. So that's why we already discussed the TMOD register. If you want to select this timer 1 as well as timer 1, then we can select the timer as 1, and for the timer 1 that will be equal to, if you want to select its timer 0, then that will be 00. If you want to select its timer 1, then that will be equal to 01. So that's why here we are selecting this timer 1 mode 1, so that's why that will be equal to 0. And again MOV TL1 06 that will be stored into the TL1, and FF that will be stored into the TH1. So the counter that is already set by storing into the timer 1 register. Now we will start the timer by using instruction setB TR1, so that the timer that can be start. Now it will check whether the TR1 overflows or not. When it overflows, then it will clear the TR1 and it will complement P2.3. Initially it may be 0 or 1. So if it is 1, then it will be complemented by 0. If it is 0, then it will be complemented by 1. So that the square wave that can be done. And then again the clear TF1, we will clear the TF1 and S jump again. Then again it will start it will store the counter into it, mean timer 1. And again the timer that will start by using setB TR1, and again it will check whether the timer overflow flag 1 that is overflow or not. If it is overflow, then it will be 1, otherwise it will rotate in these lines, and again it will clear TR1 and again it will complement. So it is continuously done. So in this program we already seen that once complement done, then P2.3, then if initially it was say 0, then it will be 1, and it will remain 1 until the counts complete. So when the counts that will complete, overflow occurs and TF1 flag that will be set as 1. So now after that, again it will be complemented by 1, means once complement that will be done, means if it was 1, then it will be equal to 0. Now this counter basically give us some delay, so that in this delay part, so the complements P2.3 that will remain same. So it may be 1, it may be 0. So the time durations for 1 and 0 that will be same, so that the square wave that can be generated by this program. So such a way by we can basically generate the square wave. Now next program, that is write a program segment that uses timer 1 in mode 2 to toggle P2.0 once whenever the counter reaches a count of 100. So when the 100 counts completed, then the P2.0 that will be toggle, and assume the timer clock is taken from external source P1.5. So we will take the timer clock that is the external source from P1.5. Now we actually use this timer as timer 1 and mode 2. So now we have to set it by writing the data into the TMOD. So here the 60, if you write 60 into the TMOD register, then that will assign the timer 1 as well as mode 2. So now 100 counts that we have to count, the initialization value to be loaded into the TH1, that is 256 minus 100, that will be equal to 156. Now if you convert it into hexadecimal form, then that will be equal to 9CH. So now in this program, basically we are taking the mode 2. So in mode 2 means 8-bit auto-relate mode, means we have to store the 8-bit of count into the TH1. So now 100 pulse that we have to count, and after that the P2.0 that will be complemented by 1, means once complement of P2.0 that will be done. So now here first we have to store 60 into the TMOD. So by using MOV instructions we are actually storing 60H into the TMOD, so that the timer 1 and mode 2 is selected. So after that we will store the count, that is the 9CH into the TH1, so that 100 pulse that can be count. Now we will set P1.5, that is by writing set B P1.5, so that the timer clock taken from the external source P1.5, and next we will start the timer by writing set B TR1. So it will start the timer. Now we will check whether the timer completes its operations or not. After the counts completed, it overflows, and the TF1 that will be set as 1, and after that otherwise it will rotate into these lines, into this line, and after the completions of the count operations, P2.0 that will be once complement done of P2.0, means if it was 0, then that will be equal to 1. So again we will clear the TF1, that is the timer overflow flag that can be set as 0, and then SJump back that will occur, and that is continuously done by using this program. So so this is a way by which that program that can be executed. So in this lecture I already discussed different logical instructions, and we write some program by using this kind of logical instructions, and in this program we also discuss different timer counter programs and interrupt programs by which we can basically use timer, counter as well as interrupts. So that is the way we can perform different timer, counter as well as interrupt operations. So thank you. This is my fourth lecture on programming. So next lecture we will discuss on serial communications and DAC, ADC into the next lecture. Thank you.